Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are happy to have you guys at our second episode of the restarted, rebooted NerdRabbit podcast. We're happy to welcome back Arun Krishnakumar. He is also known as Rabbit633 on our platform. As it goes, we're happy to welcome him again. We have a new topic in AWS to talk about. This one's a little more specific than the last one. As it goes, the last one talked a little bit about DevOps, a little bit about some of these cultural and technical elements that are guiding modern companies. This time, we are going to talk a little bit more about a tool called Amazon Pinpoint. So I'll let Arun kind of just take the ball and run with just a brief overview of Pinpoint, and we can just
Absolutely.
go from there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Hello, viewers. Again, I'm so happy to meet everyone for the second podcast. So, um, so the topic we have is like Amazon Pinpoint, actually. So it's a great AWS service offering by the Amazon, especially for the multi-channel communication. Again, like right now, you take like any small business or even like enterprise customers, like email marketing or campaigning, it's it becomes a bread and butter of their whatever the product or their service, whatever they're offering. So this Pinpoint service will be like a perfect platform. I would say one integrated platform that AWS offers for an effective multi-channel communication. We will go in deep what exactly the multi-channel communication piece, but think about you have an email marketing, or let's say like you want to send SMS or in-app messaging or push notifications. So this one whole platform will be the place to go instead of going and hunting for different services and then seeing whether that service is having API capability or not to integrate with your custom proprietary platforms. So at a high level, Amazon Pinpoint is an excellent multi-channel communication service that is offered by AWS, and they are keep on adding so many features to it. Okay, um, that's a high level overview. Back to
No,
you, Chris.
excellent. Yeah, and as that goes, obviously communication with customers is for a lot of businesses pretty high on the priorities list. And how you do that through software or through development is always a big question. How do we best implement this? How do we track this? How do we coordinate or strategize this? So it's a huge question for a lot of businesses that are looking to take advantage of all these different technical platforms that allow communication. And I think starting with that, you mentioned the multi-channel messaging, kind of operating in that multi-channel approach. Can you walk our viewers a little more through what multi-channel messaging means?
Absolutely. So what is actually multi-channel messaging? For example, let's say we have a customer is releasing a product. I can give like my one of my classic working example. This customer, he's a startup, and then he wants to release the product. Let's say like an app. Um, it's a kind of let's say like a social media app. So and this customer, like whenever the user registers, he wanted to send an email notification or email. Um, and then also like once they registered, let's say there is a multi-factor authentication. Whenever they register it, let's say they want to send a SMS. And then once they registered, actually, then the product should be able to send, let's say, welcome messages, welcome newsletters for, let's say, like, for first day, this is the template I wanted to send an email. For second day, this is the template. So instead of we go and build it in a very custom way, so this whole Amazon Pinpoint service, it gives us an opportunity, it gives us a very good console where we could say, where is this data source is going to come from? Okay, where are my users? Obviously, when the user is registered, we'll be storing that information in our database, and then we'll be able to query the user, and then we will be able to send an email or an SMS. So this Amazon Pinpoint will help us to do that, and it's all API driven. That is one of the cool feature. Like it's an API driven, and then you can also import the users in Pinpoint. It's something called like segments. You can import the segment. It could be like a static or a dynamic segment, where in our case it's a dynamic segment, which is much more complicated. But Pinpoint makes us very easy to do that. Once you create import the segment, import the users, then you need to create an attach an email template, and then you can plug in those values, whatever the content needs to be, and then you can push it. So multi-channel means you can send through communication through email, SMS, let's say in-app messaging, push notifications. So all in one place. So that is the whole feature of the multi-channel communication with respect to Pinpoint.
No, excellent. So obviously you can communicate pretty broadly. You can talk to a lot of people in a lot of different places. One of the big questions for a lot of companies that are implementing any sort of communications with their customers is, hey, how do I ensure the right communication is going to the right customer, right? How do I target the right people for my messaging? Can you talk a little bit about how Pinpoint helps, I guess the name really sells it there, Pinpoint the right audience for their messaging?
Yes. So see the audience manager, audience management. It's one of a very key feature within Pinpoint, because everything, the whole workflow orchestration starts from the audience management. So as I mentioned before, it could be like a dynamic audience. It could be like let's say like a static audience. Normally it could be like a dynamic audience. So we get the users, we store it in S3, we pull those users from the data sources, and we send the messages. And one of the other cool feature is, let's say we can also track whether the audience or whether the email has been opened or not. So that is a real-time tracking that the Pinpoint can provide. So that is a very cool feature, because it's not about the marketing is just sending the messages or sending the emails. It's all about tracking it. So that tracking will give us a lot of insights to the data, so that we could play around. Okay, we could change our strategy. Okay, so this is not working. Okay, I have to provide some more sophisticated like a content. Okay, so that will engage us with the customer base. So which is like taking the communication aspect, multi-channel communication aspect to the next level.
Excellent. Now, obviously kind of getting into these different groups you can target, why you're targeting them, et cetera, it kind of almost gets into more of a marketing conversation as to, in this communication, how do I ensure that I'm thinking strategically? How do I make sure I'm instituting campaigns that can effectively engage my customers the way I'm looking for, and I can learn from these campaigns and adapt? Can you walk us through a little more about how you can use Pinpoint to address kind of this communication need that a lot of companies have?
Yeah, sure. So campaigns and journeys are an integral part of this whole Pinpoint ecosystem, right? So what does a campaign means? Like campaign means is nothing but I'm having let's say I'm running a kind of a food campaign. It runs from a specific start date and end date. I just wanted to run the campaign, and then I just wanted to send some messaging and then marketing materials to that. So this Pinpoint will be like a perfect scenario for that, right? So you can create a campaign, and then you can send the communication for that campaign with all of the ecosystem that already in place. Let's say you have the segment audience management created using segments. You have the campaign setup. You right now like for which segment you need to send the campaign communication. So you're going to send through that. So that is an effective way of doing it. And also there's a concept of journey. So campaign and journey complement each other. So journey is a kind of like where you can create. For example, in our case, I need to schedule this welcome, let's say day one newsletter on daily basis, or day two newsletters on daily basis. So that way, like in the journey, I could go ahead and create a workflow and orchestrate the workflow, so that we could send the multi-channel, like we can implement the multi-channel communications.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, so the journey builder in this is obviously, like you said, it's a big complement to the notion of campaigns. It's this idea that to get customers from point A to point B, there's a lot of steps like point 1, A point 2, A point 3 along the way that actually moves that customer there. And you have to learn, you have to adapt as you go. You mentioned open rates earlier as far as like more of an analytic type element of this. Can you walk us through some of the other analytic and reporting offerings that Pinpoint provides to users as they try to take users on the best journey?
Absolutely. So this whole Pinpoint ecosystem, like again, since it's an AWS service, natively it can integrate with S3, it can integrate with RDS, it can integrate with Redshift, allowing the businesses to leverage additional capabilities for processing and analytics and for storage mechanism as well. So, so again, everything can be driven through APIs, and we can also, for real-time tracking, we can also use Amazon Kinesis, where we get the real-time information when let's say kind of a Google Analytics tracking, right? So we are tracking the users on the whoever opened the emails, whoever got the notifications, how many have reacted to that. So with these services integrated, Pinpoint gives us a real-time notifications or real-time messaging aspect or experience that's how my campaign is doing, or how my marketing campaign is doing, because that is the end goal of this whole Pinpoint service. It's not about sending the messages. It's also about it's also about tracking how much the whole the communication aspect is working. Okay, so analytics is a very integral part, so that because based on that, business has to constantly change the strategy of approaching the whole marketing campaign.
No, that makes perfect sense. And what you mentioned there, it kind of you were talking about all the different services that it integrates with along AWS, because that's one of the big sells to AWS in general, having a lot of these services that natively integrate with each other. And you think about really high quality marketing and campaigns and communication strategies, and a lot of them are really influenced by specific data on different types of users that's going to be important. And being able to seamlessly tie to your storage tools and your databases and stuff that defines these various types of users or customers, etc., it's going to be valuable for companies that want to get the most out of their communication strategy. So that makes perfect sense. Now, the other thing I know AWS tends to thrive in that I'm sure helps Pinpoint users as well is kind of that scalability aspect of it.
Yes.
I mean, can you walk us through a little more about through how users can actually build this up on a massive communication scale?
Absolutely. Anything on AWS, what I say to the customers is can be scalable and reliable based on how the architecture is being built, right? So again, this Pinpoint is a kind of a platform as a service, so which means you it's very highly scalable and high reliable as well. Okay, because everything is driven through APIs. What we have to make sure we are architecting in such a way that the push notifications or the emails are properly going out. Okay, and then we are also able to track it properly. And again, as we should be able to, again, one of the other things that we also need to keep check on the pricing aspect as well, because it all depends on how many emails going out and how many API calls. That is a standard nomenclature for any AWS service. So, but on the scalability and reliability part, this service I have no issues, because I've used this for, let's say, for my lot of customers, and they feel it extremely helpful with the service.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things. So something like communications, there might be a lot of API calls. You're really going to benefit from some of the economies of scale processing-wise that AWS can create. So yeah, I mean, as that goes, I feel like that's generally covers it. We've talked a lot about the different ways you can reach customers, the different ways that you can segment and create journeys and campaigns for these different customers, and just how it then benefits from AWS's backbone from a processing standpoint.
Yes. And then I want personal experience as well. So I was in reInvent, in 2022. I happened to meet an AWS reInvent that happened in Las Vegas. I happened to meet the folks from AWS Pinpoint team itself. Again, they are interacting with cool things on, let's say, what are the features that they're going to add, because I was saying my experience, these things can be added. And then they've taken that very seriously. They are going to add more and more features, because they need to hear from the customers what is that they want to provide. So Pinpoint platform is, I would say, is a constantly evolving platform. And since it's part of AWS ecosystem, AWS is trying to integrate with a lot of other services natively, which is a very great thing, because that will resolve a lot of we don't need to go and invent anything new.
Yeah, lot less headaches than actually building APIs from scratch. So
Exactly.
that's what AWS tries to do. They try to give people an out-of-the-box solution for the vast majority of use cases for developing software. And, if you have niche use cases, there's always options outside of AWS. But the whole thing being that when you have a typical use case, odds are a tool like Pinpoint might be able to work with that. And you're going to integrate natively with your databases, with your storage, with your processing. It's going to be simple and seamless.
Exactly. And there are like third-party integrations as well. Like one of the customer asked, okay, I want to create a customized, good-looking email template. So there are products out there where you can create a email template and then you can integrate with Pinpoint. So they are providing that option as well, so that it's just not like a non-Pinpoint resource can go ahead and create an email template, and then an AWS guy use that template to plug in the appropriate attributes, values, so that the end user gets the email with the values with a sophisticated template. So those things are achievable.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where they do make it where the AWS ecosystem enables tools like this to be pretty seamless in ways that they wouldn't have been traditionally without a ecosystem like AWS. So I mean, as far as that goes, I think that Pinpoint is a really useful tool for the vast majority of businesses, because most businesses creating software have customers using that software, whether they be internal or external, and notifications, communications, these are
Yes.
always a part of it. And being able to do that reliably and at scale, that's where AWS comes in. So, I mean, that's all I really wanted to cover today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us again. We're going to be doing a few more of these with you. We have some other podcasts coming up that I'm pretty excited about, where we're actually going to work with some of our other partners in the AWS space to talk about some software oriented towards FinOps, oriented towards well-architected framework. So I just really appreciate you taking the time to talk about Pinpoint today. And for the next ones with you, I think we have some other pretty exciting ones in store.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes. And again, thanks for the opportunity, Chris. It's always nice to um, 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 have these kind of conversations that helps other people. And then we would like to do more on this.
Excellent. Well, thanks again. This is Arun Krishnakumar. If you go to nerdrabbit.com, you can sign up for our platform. He is Rabbit633 on our platform, and he is excited to take on any projects you have around Pinpoint, around DevOps, around cloud in general. So we hope you tune in next time. We hope this has been informative, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.